All right,
So,
Ty.
hello and welcome to episode number 32 of the Wise Guys podcast. I'm John Tortorelli with my co host Brandon Capizzello and Justin Ray. Today, we have a lot to talk about in the NFL world, starting off with Sunday Night Football last night. Patrick Mahomes dancing on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's big mistake, Brandon. Oh, I'm excited to talk about that. Kind of something you're not looking forward to. Walking the plank, our newest topic around here, and then revisiting the NFC least and Brandon's infamous take on them. Starting off, how you guys doing today? We got a little Rams 49ers in the background.
Feeling good, man. Yeah, I love some football. If you guys don't know, for people tuning in, me and Brandon have a nice bet on the 49ers and the Rams. He thinks that they're going to sweep the 49ers this year. I think not. And right now, the odds are in my favor. So I'm feeling
Yeah.
great.
And Justin's a big second quarter guy, apparently. So that's all I got to say. I'm doing good. I'm ready to go. Let's get this train rolling.
So, starting off, yesterday, Patrick Mahomes goes to Tampa Bay and has one of the most crazy performances I've ever seen at the quarterback position, dancing around, doing Patrick Mahomes type things. Brandon alluded to after we had recorded a live show yesterday. His footwork is some of the worst in the league, but only he could get away with it. 3 touchdown passes, defeating Tom Brady and the Bucks, and a game that showed maybe that Buccaneers defense isn't so spectacular.
Mm.
I told you guys this was going to happen. The Chiefs' offense, yeah, I did. You don't remember that? And you told me you can't go up against Tom Brady. And I told you Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has himself 92 yards on the ground, and Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. And so long as he's healthy, we're going to see how banged up he is. This Chiefs team is the best in the NFL. So starting off with you, BCap, I want to know, you were talking about Tom Brady and how he outperformed Patrick Mahomes in this game off the air. What was your biggest takeaway?
Well, actually, I sent that text to you. I think it was at halftime that Tom Brady was outplaying Patrick Mahomes, and he was outplaying Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, biggest takeaway is that the Buccaneers' vaunted defense just did not show up. They were a shell of themselves this week. Very surprising, especially against the run, which they have been stout again. We've gone over the stats. I've read them out to you guys in a previous episode about how great they've been over the past 3-4 years against the run. And this year, I think they've even been better than they've been in the past couple of years. This week, they allowed 37 carries for 189 yards. That's 5.1 yards a pop and 2 touchdowns. That can't happen. And on Tom Brady's side, you want to know what Tom Brady got from his rushing game? 6 carries for 3 yards. Leonard Fournette had negative 3 yards rushing. All right. Right off the bat in the first play of the game, the opening kickoff, the Buccaneers return man fumbled the football, and right out of the gates, the Buccaneers were behind the 8 ball, and it's not a place you want to be when you're going up against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that are still explosive, can still make nothing out of something, still have the stability of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid. It's not somewhere you want to be. Tom Brady valiantly fought until the bitter end. Final score was 41-31, I should say. Yeah, I just look at it and you go off of it. Like the opening fumble, the KC scores a touchdown off that. Then the Bucks score. Kansas City goes up 21-3 at one point, and it's just it's hard to come back from that. He was able to get it reasonably. I know he was never like within like a one score game before it took off, but you always thought, for me personally, when I was watching it, that Brady could come back as long as the defense just made a couple plays here and there, which they are more than capable of making, getting a turnover, getting a big stop, and they weren't really able to do that. And yeah, a bad week for the Buccaneers defense. Tom Brady played very well. So my mind doesn't change on Tom Brady still being the best quarterback in the league. He still is. I'd still take him. I would trust him for one game, for one season, for one quarter, for one drive. I'm taking Tom Brady, and everybody else should take Tom Brady. If you know and understand what you're seeing on the television or when you're watching live and in color, what's going on the field, like how much of a command and methodical he is. It's just next level. It really is.
I don't think the score was actually indicative of how the game went. Excuse my French, but the Chiefs beat their ass. The Chiefs beat their ass. I don't care how you slice it. When you're playing a good team, in any sport that you play, you can't give teams second opportunities, and the Bucks did that with 2 fumbles. That's the exact recipe to losing a game, and no matter what sport you play. I'm a baseball player. If there's 2 outs in an inning and there's a pop-up to me and I botch a pop-up, that's just a recipe for disaster. And then next thing you know, floodgates open. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, yeah, one thing that I can say that came out positively for the Bucks is Mike Evans in the fold looks incredible. So with Brady and Evans and Godwin and Julio, that offense can put up points. And over the last couple of episodes that we've spoken about the Bucks, I've expressed my concern for what this offense looks like when they're gone. You know, that they look terrible. So seeing them put 31 points, that's a bit reassuring. The defense, I won't stress too much about it because you're going up against the Chiefs. I wouldn't say this is just very bad Bucks defense more than I'll say I think it was just a very good Chiefs offense, a very good Chiefs team that capitalized on mistakes. Exactly what a Super Bowl contender is supposed to do. Forget just this Chiefs team. I mean, Allaire, this dude's having a fantastic start to the season. He's going crazy. He's a touchdown machine. And then Isaiah Pacheco is running like a demon when he gets
7th round pick, 30th overall in the 7th round.
Dude looks like a stud. And it just looks like the Chiefs are hitting on all cylinders. I mean, outside of that loss to the Colts, which really it should have been a W in their books, but that's football. Things happen. The Chiefs are probably the scariest team in the AFC. And it's tough for me to say. The closest second team is what, Buffalo? And right now, man, the Chiefs just beat the daylights out of Tom Brady and the Bucks. So I'd have to go with the Chiefs right now, my number 1 team in football, easily. And by the way, excuse me, guys, my light keeps flickering. I just hope my bulb doesn't shut off.
It must be Patrick Mahomes and the electricity of that Chiefs offense. I think that might be it. I said before, we'll see how long or how much or how badly Travis Kelce's banged up. It wasn't him, it was L'Jarius Sneed. I don't know how I mixed up those 2 guys. He had an ankle injury, and Trey Smith as well, a pec injury. Those 2 guys are very key to this Chiefs team. And like you said, Justin, I look at the NFL right now. The way they lost to the Colts was BS. They should have won that game right when Chris Jones sacked Matt Ryan. I was not very impressed with that Colts victory. I felt the Chiefs played a better football game. Right now, they're playing the best football in the league. I think the Bills and the Eagles are right there, number 2 and number 3. But I told you guys, there's no team with a better quarterback. And at the end of the day, the continuity they have and the all-around talent, the offensive line's improvement, it's a losing game betting against this Chiefs team to not go back to the AFC Championship game because this is a better team, quite honestly, than what many of us would have expected.
So
it's only week 4.
You're going to stand on the Kansas City as your Super Bowl pick?
I didn't have a Super Bowl pick this year. I had the Buccaneers number 1, actually. So I guess that was my Super Bowl pick. I had the Chiefs
we had a Super Bowl prediction. We all had our. You
gave one. Wait, you're right. I had the Bills. I had the Bills.
But I'm saying right now, as we stand, are you Kansas City?
Yeah, week 4, the Chiefs my Super Bowl pick. And now that you reminded me, yeah, my Super Bowl is Bills Packers, and the Packers, they're not playing at the level of a team representing the NFC right now in the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, because I think we all know how this story goes. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes are 3-3 in their head-to-head records. Tom Brady's 3 losses come in where? The regular season. Tom Brady's 3 wins against Mahomes come where? In the playoffs.
I think you only played him twice in the postseason.
I'm almost positive. I don't
2018?
Think...
2020.
Correct.
Or 2021.
Is that true?
for this year, but I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah,
Okay,
only
well,
played
in
that
for
the
the
still
one
makes
playoffs.
my
season.
point. My point is that Tom Brady beats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That was my whole point of that. Is that Brady 2-0, if you want to go that way, 2-0 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
When all you have to say is when it matters most. Yep. When it matters
Tom
most.
Brady comes out. So
That on top.
yeah, Tampa Bay is still my Super Bowl prediction. I'm not wavering on that. They look real good. I told Justin to have no concerns about this offense. He didn't want to listen to me for 2 straight weeks. He gets proved wrong once again by a guy that he's watched for a decade plus. I don't know why he, keeps underrating him. But yeah, the defense, I agree with Justin. I think this might be more of the exception and not the rule. So hopefully they can get it together next week. Who do they play real quick? They play the Falcons. So I think that's a smash game. I'm pretty sure they've blown out the Falcons like every time they've been with Tom Brady, if I'm not mistaken.
Falcons are sneaky good. That could.
Yeah, they're not. Don't do that.
They did get the Browns this last week. We'll talk
Yeah,
about the
the
Browns.
Browns are
Perfect segue.
Perfect
Perfect segue. So Baker Mayfield requested a trade. He wanted out of Cleveland. And when I look at his decision making this last summer, I felt like it was very brash and quite frankly immature.
You're really going to sit here and say that?
I look at this Panthers team and I say to myself, Baker Mayfield chose Matt Rule, a sinking ship as his head coach, and Ben McAdoo. Ben McAdoo as his offensive coordinator, opposed to staying in Cleveland for a team where he knew Deshaun Watson would be suspended and the opportunity to start and play an elite offense would have given him the
Why would he stay?
Because he's trying to play for a new contract.
Would you stay?
Yes, I would stay because I'm trying to do what's best for my career.
The disrespect that they just gave you.
What disrespect?
Are you freaking kidding? Oh my God. Okay, let's count the ways. So for this team that has been dreadful for the past 20 plus years, right? They haven't won a playoff game, I think, since 94, I believe it was. They had made the playoffs since 2008, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. They were 0-16 when they drafted him.
1-15.
No, they won't.
They had the first overall pick 2 straight years. The first year was where they took Myles Garrett. The second year is where they took him.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. They were 1-32 or 31 in the last 2 years when Baker Mayfield took over, is my point. And in his rookie year, he's able to, I forget, what did he win? 7 of 8 games, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. But Pro Football Focus ranked Baker's rookie year 3rd best ever in the last 15 years and had 40 big time throws that ranked 3rd that year. Then the instability. Hugh Jackson gets fired after 4 games his rookie year. Greg Williams comes in. He's gone after the next season, which I always have said that's a stupid mistake. They made a terrible mistake getting rid of Greg Williams. Their defense has never looked as the same as it was then. Then they bring in who was it?
Freddie Kitchens.
Freddie freaking Kitchens. Yeah, that guy. That was a blunder of the year. That year's out the window. Then they get Kevin Stefanski, if I'm not mistaken, right?
In 2020.
And 2020. And this is where Baker goes on the run and they make the playoffs for the first time in over 10 years. And they win a playoff game in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, blowing the Pittsburgh Steelers out. Baker had a 90 QBR in that game. He went on an 11-game stretch in 2020. He had 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And he was 8-3 in that record. Beat the Steelers, ranked 4th QB, best QB in that stretch. All right. Then they go on and they lose to who do they lose to after the Pittsburgh? Who do they go and face? The Chiefs. Okay. And then they lose to the Chiefs, which is fine because that's the Kansas City Chiefs. We're not going to spend too much time on that. Then we go to 2021, right? And if I'm not mistaken, it was in game 1 where Baker Mayfield throws an interception. And as Baker does, because this is the type of gamer he is, he's not going to give up on a play. If he messes up, he's going to go and try and hit the guy. You can call it stupid or whatever. That's just the way Baker's built, and he's going to do that. He did that last week against the the Arizona Cardinals when he played the Cardinals this last week. He tears his labrum and fractures his shoulder. Oh, in game 2. I'm sorry, not in game 1, in game 2. And he has to play with a harness throughout the rest of that season. Then off-season reports start coming out. Secret meetings are taken. Things are reported, and Baker finds out over social media and via text without finding out face to face with his front office and his team that drafted him number 1 overall. After one bad season where he was terribly injured and shouldn't even have been on the field. They kick him to the curb. They take secret meetings. They go after a guy that John has bashed publicly and privately very harshly. Okay, let's be very clear. Then they come out with statements. We need a more mature quarterback, like John just said, calling Baker immature, which is why I laughed and why that's one of the stupidest things you could have ever said, John. They want a more mature quarterback. They want an adult in the quarterback room. After they just go get a guy that had, 25 sexual assault allegations on him at the time? Yeah. Okay. You want a mature guy in the room, though, right? If we're going to be real, let's be real about it. Let's talk about it. You want a mature guy in the room. So you're going to call the guy who's brash, a little cocky, a little arrogant, talks his trash, immature, but this guy's mature. The guy with the 25 sexual assault allegations. That's okay. Okay, but then let's move on, right? So now John says, I would have stayed. That's interesting because of after everything I just laid out for you, what Baker just did for Cleveland and how he got thrown to the side and basically thrown to the trash and said, we don't want you anymore because we believe we can go get somebody better. And that's fine. I'm not faulting them for that. If you believe that this guy's a better player, that's fine. Just don't come out with those stupid ass reports of you talking crap about your current quarterback, especially when you're looking to trade him. That kind of devalues the trade. That's just bad business. It's irresponsible and it's just bad business. So then we go, you want to stay. Baker, we all know this, and we all should know this. Baker, it was a game of chicken with Cleveland because they wanted to try and get the best trade for Baker, and teams were basically like, we're not trading for Baker because he had a $20 million cap hit that year, and they didn't want to trade for that, which is fine. That's good business. You know that Cleveland wants to move on from him. You know Baker wants to be out. So it's a waiting game at this point. Waiting to cut him. Training camp comes. OTAs come. Preseason is just about to start. Baker has to make a decision. He says, screw it. I'll take less money, and I'll go to the team that's ranked on ESPN's rankings before the season, 32nd in the league. I'll go there because I've always been an underdog. I was a walk-on freshman at Texas Tech, okay? Walked on at Oklahoma. I'll do this. Beats out Sam Darnold for the job. Starts the season through 2 weeks. I gave you guys this stat a couple weeks ago, I believe. I just want to say it again. The first 2 games where he lost to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. NFL history and records were made that day, those 2 days. No team has ever lost back-to-back games on 56-plus yard field goals. Never. That happened. All right? So I don't understand, John, where you're coming from, where you say you should have stayed after all I laid out for you, where they just disrespected him, where you say he made a mistake when it was really the only option he could go to because Cleveland apparently wasn't going to. Yes, it was. If he would have waited, it would have been, week 2 in the preseason before he got cut? Now he's really starting behind the 8 ball on a new team.
You do recognize that he requested a trade before they went out and got Deshaun Watson. The reason why I'm laughing...
That's not true.
It is. The reason why I'm laughing, go do your research, check on Google, is because in spite of all of that you just laid out for me, it's much like when somebody does you wrong, and then you look to retaliate by showing, I can do this without you. But at the end of the day, Baker's best opportunity to win, and more importantly, show himself for next season where he can kind of pick where he wants to go in free agency and he has more of a market, was by sticking in Cleveland. Because the Browns have an elite rushing attack, and without Baker have been winning with the backup in Jacoby Brissett. The Browns just lost to the Falcons on Sunday, 23-20. You can make the case right now, this team could be 4-0 with Baker Mayfield. whereas Baker is in Carolina with, like I said before, a ship that is rapidly sinking. The Panthers have talent. DJ Moore is a really good receiver. Christian McCaffrey is an elite level running back on the field.
And
But
nobody's
at the end
questioning
of
the
the day,
talent. It's the coaching. It's the
he
coaching.
chose not to stay in Cleveland, which would have been best for his market.
No, it
To
wouldn't
get
have.
paid.
It's
Because
toxic. You don't stay in a toxic relationship, John. Anything. You don't stay in a toxic relationship. It's bad for you and it's bad for the people. It's a toxic relationship. Why would you stay in a toxic environment?
it's a temporary environment for you to do what's best for your career,
Yeah,
recognizing
but you can't blame him for the simple fact that it was written on the walls that they didn't want it.
so why not?
Why would you want to be in a place where you're not wanted? So I won't fault Baker there, but also just touch on one thing. I don't know if this Browns team will be 4-0 with Baker Mayfield. I think Jacoby Brissett. I don't know how much different they are at this very point in time.
And that's the point. Look at how much better Jacoby Brissett looks in this offense compared to Miami last year. He's looking like like one of the best backups in the league, which he has the capability to do, and that's because of how good this offense is. Amari Cooper, David Njoku, there's talent, and most importantly, like the best running back in football right now with a good offensive line, and a coach in Kevin Stefanski who's having a better season. The Browns are a good team. I mean, you could say to yourself, if Baker were to lead this team to 8 wins, they're 8-3 when Deshaun Watson comes back. Imagine how awkward that would make it for the Browns, that you're winning with Baker, and Deshaun, who hasn't played in almost 2 years, is going to be rusty. All of a sudden, Browns fans are saying, no, let's keep Baker in there for the continuity. We're winning with him. Why do you want to shake it up?
Now you're even definitely more messing it up because now you're causing a QB controversy after you just paid a guy $250 million.
Isn't that great for Baker? Isn't that a great way to overcome adversity?
It's not great for the Browns.
But at this point, he's not even worried about the Browns. He's doing what's best for him, and in part, that's making the Browns look silly to really boost his value around the league.
Look what you're doing, John.
Because the perception of him now is...
Time out. You called the man immature at the start of this.
Oh,
and
entirely.
You are literally laying out a plan of complete and utter immaturity.
How?
You just said, is it not best for Baker? Screw what the Browns think. I'm doing what's best for me. You're screwing over the Browns because now you're causing a QB controversy with a guy you just guaranteed $200+ million. Fans are going to be split. That's terrible for business. That's terrible for your team. That's terrible for your roster. That's terrible for chemistry, continuity.
But the team's winning games.
All because of Baker. So you're literally laying out an immature plan for Baker, but you're calling the man immature because he left.
That plan isn't immature. That plan is the right football decision. And in part, it's looking out for yourself and doing what's best for your career. Yeah, he should look out for himself because these teams ain't loyal. And you said that all the time with the NBA. Your favorite player is Dwayne Wade. So as an athlete, part of being selfish is making the right decision for your career. And for Baker, by leaving Cleveland for an incompetent franchise, next year he may be fighting for a starting job. And honestly, he may not get it just because of the choice he made to leave Cleveland, requesting a trade when the reality was that was a great team for him because of how little he was getting paid as a player in a rookie contract. They had put the offense in place. In Carolina, he wasn't going to have that. That's
what we should be talking about. We shouldn't be talking about the past. Forget Cleveland. Let's talk about the fact that he is this past Sunday, I'm sorry, Brandon, but your boy was absolutely awful. Awful. I don't know how many passes blocked.
9 batted passes.
Balls. Yeah, how many batted passes?
9.
9? Jesus Christ.
That's not on Baker, though.
Oh, I don't care if it's not on Baker. The guy looked terrible on Sunday.
All right, but
I remember, granted, that this is going up against a defense that isn't great.
It's not, but again, I bring to you 9 batted balls. If 9 of them aren't batted down, think about how many more yards are left on the field and how better his stats would have looked and how better a game he would have played if they weren't batted down. They aren't his fault because if you listen to O-linemen will tell you it's our job to keep the hands down. We're not supposed to let that happen to our quarterback. This has never been a problem for Baker. Go back and look at all his years. It's never been this big of a problem. Maybe here and there they'll get batted down because he is 6 feet tall. It happened to Drew Brees, happened to Russell Wilson, happens to all the smaller quarterbacks. But it's never happened this egregiously. And it was happening a lot more on the right side. What is J.J. Watt's nickname?
Yeah, J.J. Swat. Yeah.
Okay, he might not be able to rush the passer anymore, but I damn think he can jump high enough to block a freaking pass with his 6'4" frame. All right, it happens. A lot of batted balls.
Okay, outside of the
He's got to
batted
play
balls,
better.
he didn't
I'm
look
not
good.
gonna sit here and make excuses for Baker. He's got to play better.
And
He's missing throws that I've seen him make before. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it because I've seen Baker make the throws he's made that he's missing, and I've seen him make tougher throws. I don't know what's going on. I can tell you that I don't believe in Matt Rule. I didn't before the season. I don't now. Ben McAdoo is terrible. I don't know how he still has a job in the NFL after what he did for the New York Giants. He's got to play better.
The Carolina Panthers are in the bottom 3 ranked of NFL teams. They're in my bottom 3. And this is a team that you thought could make the playoffs.
I don't think they're in the bottom 3.
Make the playoffs.
I don't think they're in the bottom 3 teams.
So with what you just said about their coaching, do you still have the Panthers making it as a wild card team?
So let's rattle off the teams, right? Bucks are lock, Packers lock, Rams are lock. I still have the Cowboys. So that's 4 right there, right? So we got 3 more spots.
How about we look at this? The Panthers' next 3 games are at versus the 49ers,
Toast.
the Rams,
Toast.
and the Buccaneers.
Burnt.
You play the Falcons, then the Bengals, then the Falcons, then the Ravens.
Toast. Toast. Toast.
You can make the case by the end of that stretch.
I'm not as confident as I was before the season, obviously.
Really?
But they're really, what do you mean really? They're 1-3. How am I going to sit here and be more confident than I was before the season started where they were 0-0?
It's sarcastic.
There is a pathway. I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibility as coming in 7th, getting that 7th spot. New Orleans has looked terrible. As besides their defense, they have looked not good. 49ers, listen, knock on wood, but you're, like I've said, the insurance policy needs an insurance policy. So that could happen at any point in time. Arizona, nobody's really high on Arizona. Vikings, we know what Kirk Cousins is. I hope John realizes what Kirk Cousins is and always has been, always will be.
Always been better than Baker.
Yeah, sure. And the Eagles have looked very good. So I think it can happen, but they have to get it started going now. I think winning one of the next 3 games, those big tough games, I think winning one of them would be major confidence booster if they can get one of those games. I believe the Bucks game is in Carolina. Divisional game. Could it play out differently than other games that the Bucks maybe would dominate? There's a chance. We'll see.
They need to win more than one of those games because with this coach in the hot seat, if they start 2-5, they may be looking at an interim by then.
That's fine. I don't know who they're going to elevate. Definitely not Ben McAdoo. Who's their defensive coordinator? I don't even know. Maybe that guy.
We're getting Steph Curry on the Manning cast right now. I'm a big fan of that.
That's
so, any other comments before we move to walk the plank? The Panthers aren't good enough to make the list to walk the plank.
I could honestly see the Panthers losing 1, 2, 3, 4. Their next 5 games. 4 or 5 games. I say their next 4.
I think they split with the Falcons. And I'm also expecting Matt Rule to not be the coach by season's end. I think that's rather obvious. And he might get canned mid-season. Hopefully he can turn around because I think he's a good dude. Just it's been an absolute dumpster fire.
He's a college football head coach.
I can tell.
But yeah, let's get it. Let's move it on to walking a plank.
Let's move on. I'm tired of Baker. I'm sorry.
You're a hater. It's okay.
I'm not a hater. I am not a hater because I have vouched for Baker and I've said it's possible that he may have a very good season on a bad Panthers team. And he is not only are the Panthers bad, but so has he been bad. So like John said, any chance of him, really getting the opportunity to pick wherever he wants to go or to have people clawing for him in the offseason, it's gone. It is gone. He has the potential to be a very good backup quarterback at this point. I can't see any franchise looking at him and saying, yo, this is who I want to start my team with. I mean, I would love if my QB went down and I had Baker there because of the energy and the confidence that he plays with. But at the moment, I'm not seeing a starting caliber quarterback. I'm not. I mean, I'm looking at quarterbacks around the league. We just spoke about Jacoby Brissett. Why don't we talk about Geno Smith?
Cooper Rush.
Geno Smith is absolutely tearing it up. Cooper Rush is 4-0 to start his damn career. And I'm not going to knock the Panthers roster completely because they had some young pieces where if you had an elite quarterback, because man, DJ Moore is a number one.
Well,
and
the Seahawks have a much better system.
They do have a much better weapons, I guess. I mean, DK.
But also just not even that, the guy on the sideline. You got a
yes, they have Pete. You're 100% right there. But seeing what Geno's doing, I think Geno has the best passer rating in football right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You might as well give him the nickname, Mr. Perfect.
So, and it's crazy because I'm seeing Geno do this, and we had thought maybe Baker would be better suited in that Seattle offense. I don't even know if he'd do much better than what Geno's doing. He might be. Yeah. Geno's tearing it up. I mean, we just got to give him some respect, man. We really do. What a season he's having. All right, on to the next.
For me, somebody that's getting into the world of sports betting, I'm not very familiar with it. I don't have a big-time background. And that's why I'm glad I found BetStamp months ago. The ability to not waste my time thrifting through sports books when I don't always have the time, and potentially I reach a dead end because I don't like the odds. It is frustrating like anything else. With BetStamp, the biggest perk is you get to see all sports books that you can sign into through the app in one specific spot where you can compare them and contrast. I'm the type of person that learns best by using graphs. And with BetStamp, it has it all right for you on a dashboard. There's so much versatility in what you can bet on. And beyond that, if you're the type of person like me that wants to track everything, all your expenses, by year's end, you can, so long as you track all of your bets in the BetStamp app, have each and every single sports book in one specific place for you. It's easy, it saves you time, and most importantly, it'll maximize your profits. And like anything, when you're putting your money on the table, you want to max out what you can make. And I'm a big fan of BetStamp. Even if you want to sell picks as well, royalty-free, they won't take a commission. I think it's a very good app that is completely free. And if you haven't tried it yet, be sure to do so. Let them know who sent you at the Wise Guys podcast. Just Wise Guys, WISEGUYS. That is Wise Guys.
I might have to place a couple bets for this weekend, man. I have some coworkers that hit this weekend, and I'm getting a little jealous. Somebody got to pay my car insurance. Maybe FanDuel can help me out.
Walk the plank last week was a very straightforward topic. Chargers, Cardinals. We had clear arrows for those teams in the direction they're heading. This week is a little bit more cloudy. Starting off with the New Orleans Saints, a team that I had winning the AFC South. And after starting 1-3, boy, do I feel stupid. They've been hampered by injury. Jameis Winston missed this last game in London at 9:30. I wake up and I'm like, oh wait, Alvin Kamara's not playing? Okay. And that's been the theme. All of these guys are going through injuries. Jarvis Landry's banged up. Michael Thomas has been very good, but he's struggling to stay on the field. Andy Dalton, never did I expect to be seeing Red Rifle starting at quarterback again, but he did this last week against the Vikings. And they nearly beat the Vikings. It took a double doink not going in for them to fall short in what would have sent the game to overtime. Is it time to panic on the Saints? Justin, you also had this as a playoff team, right?
Yes. I think I had them winning 12 games.
I had them winning 11.
So I think I'm walking the plank. I don't feel confident at all. I think if I heard this correctly, they hadn't scored a touchdown in the first quarter all season. If not longer than the first quarter. I'm not going to throw out numbers that I'm not too certain of. But yeah, this is an offense that needs to get off on a hot start, and it seems like they never do, and that seems to be their bugaboo.
Jameis turned the ball over.
Yeah, I was already off it. I told you guys take Sean Payton out, but Dennis Allen's doing a pretty bang up job, isn't he?
Oh,
Um,
shut up.
um, uh, but differing from you guys, I was more of a believer in Jameis than you guys, but now I can't talk highly about him that much anymore. I mean, he's got a great arm, he's got a winner's mentality, he's got really good intangibles, but he's got the turnover bug. Just there's something about it's like him and Carson Wentz. They've got the talent, but damn, they just make those mistakes, and you can't have it. Loses football games. There's think about if Jameis Winston didn't turn the ball over 35 times when he was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that one season. He had 5,000 yards, I believe, and 30 touchdowns, but he turned the ball over 35 times that season. They probably win what? 4-5 more games that season if he goes to 15, 14 turnovers.
That was partially kind of the Bruce Arians offense, to be fair.
No, because when you put Tom Brady in, you see what happens.
But those two really compromised. Brady and Arians have much different philosophies, and they met in between and ultimately got them a Super Bowl. With Jameis, it's really just process and results. Sounds very stupid, but it's very simple. You made a great comparison to Carson Wentz. Wentz right now is in another sinking ship in Washington where he might cost his coach his job. With Jameis, this was his last chance in the NFL. You got to sit behind Drew Brees. Last year, you showed a lot of good poise, going 5-2. You didn't have a whole lot of turnovers, only 2 interceptions in 6 games. You looked like a different quarterback. Sean Payton leaves, and now it's up to you to show a lot can change in 2 years. How much have you improved? And the result is he's still Jameis. At this point, he's a backup quarterback. And for a team led by Dennis Allen, who's not Sean Payton, not an elite Hall of Fame level head coach, and a defense that has been underperforming, I'm saying to myself, the Saints are not only a sinking ship, not only am I walking the plank, but they might have a top 7 pick if Michael Thomas can't stay healthy and Alvin Kamara is missing time as well. Because as talented as that group is, Chris Olave, I think, might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Altogether, the calling card with this team was a defense that really just was well-rounded and maybe a top 5 unit in the league, but it hasn't been quite at that level. It's underperformed. And altogether, they're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. And with Jameis under center, I think they're going to be looking at a quarterback this year in the draft because they are a quarterback away. They lost Trevor Penning. They need to build up the offensive line. But with the talent on this team and, a coach that has to start winning games, I think the clear indicator is they're going to move up in the draft or at the very least go up and get a quarterback. Because this offensive line's been hurting Jameis as well. He's been under duress, and that's played a role in his decision-making process. Altogether, I was completely wrong on the Saints, and I feel stupid now. I should have seen this coming.
I think, listen, when it comes to things that I don't know about, I follow this this cardinal rule, and I kind of learned it from Stephen A. When I don't know what I'm talking about, I sit down, I shut up, and I listen to people who are much smarter than me. So college football wise, I sit down and I'll listen to scouts and stuff like that on TV, and I'm not hearing a big buzz. I know there's the Bryce Young kid, the kid out of Ohio State.
TJ Stroud, Ohio State, and Will Levis out of Kentucky. He's a former Penn State
so those
guy.
are the bigger names. But I'm not hearing major praise like talk like a Trevor Lawrence, those kind of guys. So, and I know Bryce Young just got injured, his shoulder, I believe. So I don't know if this class is going to be one of those QB classes where some people do have a lot of hope, but it ends up being, not a lot is coming from this. We'll see. It's kind of looking a little scarce for the New Orleans Saints right now.
It looks a lot like 2020. I think it's a pretty good quarterback class. Bryce Young is an absolute joy to watch when he's on the field. And Will Levis as well as a guy that's really rose up the draft ranks. There's going to be a couple franchise guys out of this class for sure.
All right. I think that's a little much, but okay.
I have confidence. I like Will Levis a lot. So
I'm a big Arch Manning guy. Can't wait for that kid to come out.
Why is he 17 years old? It's like Bronny James. Have people in the Instagram comments getting upset at us or commenting.
Dude, but the expectations on that kid are going to be through the roof.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna live. I think he's gonna live up to it too. If I gotta be honest,
I would love to see that, and I hope if he's gonna live up to any expectations, it'll be in New England. That'll be nice.
What are we talking about here? Yo, a Manning in New England?
Oh, that'll be shit.
What?
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Don't do this.
Yeah, but I'm not on the Saints to end that. Yeah.
Second team, the Denver Broncos. Yesterday on Live, Brennan referred to Nathaniel Hackett as Nathaniel Can't Hack It. And I think that resembles a Broncos offense with a former offensive coordinator that looks in over his head and more so a unit that when you bring an offensive-oriented guy, that should be the side of the ball that's very good. But it's the defense of that team that has been the better unit.
Mm-hmm.
You guys walk in the blank in Denver.
Yeah, let me kick this one off. I know Patrick Surtain is he's doing a very good job this year. Yeah, I'm not on it. I'm out. I'm not out on Russell Wilson. I still believe in Russell Wilson. I still believe he's a top 5 quarterback in this league. I don't care what anybody says. I blame Nathaniel Can't Hack It. I blame Denver Broncos offense. I just blame them for Russell's shortcomings this year. I mean, even this year, I look at it. This year, when Russell Wilson is behind, he's got a 64.5% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. On third down, 67.5% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I just look at it and I say, if you take Russell Wilson and you put him on the Miami Dolphins, you put him on the Vikings, you put him on the Steelers, you put him on the Colts, put him back in Seattle, put him on the Raiders, those teams are better off with Russell Wilson than without.
I can't see how you have him in your top 5. First off, yeah, I'm walking the plank on the Broncos. I didn't have him making the playoffs in the first place, but having him in your top 5 is in this league with the quarterbacks that we get to watch every Sunday. Yeah, if you told me 2 years ago, Russ in your top 5, I'd entertain it. But right now, watching,
what do you think Josh Allen would be doing in Denver right now?
I think he'd still be what he is right now. I'll be honest with you. I think
without Stephon Diggs, and we know.
I think Josh Allen's one of a kind.
With Nathaniel Hackett,
he's one of a kind, and we haven't seen the athleticism out of Russ that we used to. I'm not saying that he's diminishing, but I'm saying that we haven't seen that version of him in a while. But you're still watching Brady. You're still watching Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers tore us up in the second half on Sunday. Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen.
Minus Aaron Rodgers, all those guys have talent. But Rodgers has something Russell doesn't have right now, and that's continuity and stability. Matt LaFleur there for now the past couple seasons. And we know Aaron Rodgers has been in Green Bay for the past decade plus. Russell Wilson is in a brand new system.
Quarterback is that good?
With a guy who cannot freaking coach. He looks in over his head on the sideline. His Jerry Jeudy, for how good he worked on his route running this offseason, he drops it too much. He's inconsistent. Cortland Sutton is a number 2 at best. Tim Patrick got injured before the season even started. The
Javonte Williams tore his ACL and LCL.
Javonte Williams just tore his MCL, his LCL, his PCL, ACL, every CL you could freaking think of in the book. All right. Melvin Gordon, 4 fumbles through the first 4 games of the season. It's not Russell Wilson's fault. Stop putting.
I'm not saying it's entirely his fault, but he hasn't looked good.
I want to bring it to you.
Aren't you going to at least mention the fact that he chose to go here? He had a trade clause. He did not have to.
We've talked about it, John. We talked about it. I'm not absolving Russell of that mistake because that's his fault, and that's a mistake on his part. He shouldn't have made it. I named you 6 better options that he could have went to and could have demanded a trade for. New Orleans would have been a hell of an option, wouldn't have.
I'm really just kind of sick of it. This whole let Russ cook. Just get the guy out of the damn kitchen because right now he doesn't look good. He doesn't look good. Listen, I understand everything you're saying when it comes to the head coach, but okay, Javonte Williams tore his ACL this week. Okay,
and he hasn't.
The weeks before that, the team still has looked terrible. The
Melvin
offense
Gordon,
and the offense does not look good. I get it, but he has had a whole offseason with this team. It's not like he hasn't had any opportunity, any work with these guys.
You're ignoring everything.
I'm just talking about what I'm seeing on the field, and I'm not seeing Russell Wilson.
I literally just told you when Russell Wilson is behind this year, 64.5% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. On third down, 67.5, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. I'm giving you right there on money downs, when behind on third down, the money down. He's not turning the football over, and he's completing at a high rate, and he's throwing touchdown passes. You're not looking at the weapons he's got to work with. I ask you, what was Josh Allen before Stephon Diggs?
Okay, but that was a rookie quarterback entering the league.
Second year.
Russ has been in the league for a long time.
Maybe the most raw draft prospect.
But he's put Josh Allen in this situation, put anybody in this situation. I don't think they're having success.
If you put a developed Josh Allen in this situation after 2 years of Brian Daboll, I think Jerry Jeudy's getting 1,300 yards.
You can't put Daboll there.
I just said with 2 years working with Daboll and experience, I think he comes in.
So he has Nathaniel Hackett.
With how much he's grown with that relationship he built, I think he has an awesome season, and Jerry Jeudy has well over 1,200 yards.
You're bugging out of your mind because Jerry Jeudy's going to get injured like he did this year already. Get injured. He's going to drop passes, and he's going to be inconsistent. Same thing Russell's having to deal with right now. Cortland Sutton, his stock is capped at a space. He's a good, solid receiver. His situation in Seattle is low-key and now becoming more high-key, a much better situation. Are we going to sit here and argue who's got the better weapons? Seattle. In the wide receiver, Seattle.
And Brandon.
Running back. Go ahead.
Yeah, running back Seattle.
Running back room was better in Denver initially.
But yeah, Rashad Penny.
Williams.
Yeah, but we didn't know Chris Carson was going to retire and stuff like that before the. Yeah.
Well, we did know what Rashad Penny did to end last season, and between him, maybe the best running back out of the draft, and Kenneth Walker.
O-line.
That's the thing.
They're both not that good.
This is what happens when you pay an aging quarterback well over $200 million. Russell Wilson's still good. He's not a bad quarterback. Everyone that watches him sees. With the Rams, it is different because the team had already been put in place. There is no Aaron Donald here. There is no Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp.
You were sold a bag of bull crap then. I told you that. Everybody was sold a bag of bull crap. All the Denver Broncos fans, everybody was saying.
I had this team missing the playoffs.
I didn't say you. I said everybody else. Everybody got sold a bag of whatever the hell. Yeah. They weren't one quarterback away. That's what I'm saying to you. We realize it now. If I'm Russell Wilson, I said it yesterday, I'm getting the hell out of Denver as fast as possible. I don't care how bad it looks. I don't care. I want out because they're ruining my reputation. And this is fact right here. Go listen to any other podcast. Go listen to any other whatever the hell talking about football. They're all putting the finger and blaming Russell Wilson at least. And it's not fair. And it's starting to ruin his reputation and his legacy. It's not okay.
This is on Russell Wilson. When you take the money, all of that guap, the expectation is for you to carry, you to lead. In Seattle, he brought his team to the playoffs and could never get them over that hump because they invested so much into him. There were not the resources to improve the offensive line. They drafted poorly at skill positions. Not skill, but this overall is just poor drafting by John Snyder. And he comes to Denver, takes the money again, and this team never in the first place was a true contender. If Nathaniel Hackett could coach like a Mike McDaniel, it would be. At the end of the day, he made this decision, and he has to lay in this bed because when you came here, you invested your future, the remaining years of your career as a Denver Bronco, and if you had any reservations about it, you would have declined you being traded there. Instead, went somewhere else.
You're blaming Russell Wilson.
So now the expectation is for him to overcome the limitations of the team he ultimately said yes to playing on.
You're basically saying Russell Wilson got his bag and got his money, and it's his fault that they couldn't surround him with talent.
He chose the situation with a rookie quarterback or rookie head coach. That's pretty big.
That's not entirely true because the Broncos were in. We know how this timeline went. They signed Hackett. Why? Because they thought they were getting Aaron Rodgers. They are now stuck with Hackett. Russell Wilson didn't choose Hackett. I guarantee if we put him on a lie detector test, he would have said, "Get Hackett out of here. I want another coach."
He chose the team that had Nathaniel Hackett. So yes, in part he
Okay.
did. When you marry
Also-
somebody, you're not marrying that person's father, but you're marrying that person. So you're marrying that family. Same thing.
Listen, I'm not blaming Russell for this. I'm just not. Can't get on board with that.
I mean, with great power comes great responsibility. When you're a number one quarterback, you're a Super Bowl champion, you're in the MVP race almost every year, there's an expectation that you have to hold. And no matter who's your head coach, because Peyton Manning has, and while I'm not trying to, that's like comparing apples to oranges here, but Peyton Manning hasn't always had the greatest head coaches under him. And
Tony Dungy is a Hall of Fame head coach. Jim Caldwell is a very fine and competent head coach, way better than Nathaniel Hackett.
John
Fox won games. John Fox got to a Super Bowl with Carolina and Jake Delhomme as a starting quarterback.
Okay, regardless, he hasn't had the greatest head coaches on the planet. He didn't have Bill Belichick or a Mike Tomlin or a
Tony Dungy's a Hall of Famer.
He didn't have Tony Dungy for as long as a long period of time, like a Ben has had Mike Tomlin or Brady had Belichick. What I'm saying, he didn't have that sustainability. He didn't have that. Peyton had different head coaches all the time.
No, he had what, 3?
Start from the beginning. He had more than 3 head coaches.
I don't remember who his 90s head coaches were and really that. I know Tony Dungy. I know he had Jim Caldwell after that because Dungy got fired or retired. And then he had Caldwell. And then he had Caldwell for like 3 or 4 years, and then the neck injury happened.
Fox, Kubiak.
His disastrous
that
rookie
was in
season.
Denver. That's in Denver.
But I'm saying all throughout his career, he's never gotten.
I completely blanked on his Denver career.
But this is I'm not trying to talk about Peyton too much. But what I'm trying to say is that when you're that good of a quarterback, I think we could all agree Russell Wilson will be a Hall of Fame quarterback one day.
Yeah.
When you go into a new situation like that, you're expected to be, that instant impact. I was hoping initially that he'd have that Peyton Manning-like impact.
Justin, Peyton Manning going to Denver had Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker, and Julius Thomas.
But I get that. But Julius Thomas, he created. Demaryius Thomas before Peyton Manning walked in the door was not the Demaryius Thomas we saw of Peyton Manning. Eric Decker did not know, big time level up, a huge level up. So we can't say that. Oh, that's what he walked in with. He elevated these guys.
Which Denver offense would you take better? Denver right now?
You're 100% right. But at the same time, we can compare the situations. Judy, his talent is through the roof. But now it's just a matter. It's a matter of DT
though, but he's not doing what DT did for Peyton.
But it's a matter of the quarterback elevating their game as well. Peyton Manning did that. Tom Brady has done that with other receivers. Russ is not elevating these guys.
If I throw the guy the ball and he drops it, how the hell is that his fault?
Okay, you know what? I'm being hard. Maybe I'm being hard on Russ, but that's exactly what I'm supposed to do when you're at that level of a quarterback. The finger is going to be pointed at you. That's the expectation.
I wish you would point the finger at Josh Allen, but
for what? Oh, for what? The guy that you said can't win a 1-score game and he just did it in Baltimore?
I would be mindful about bragging about being 1-7 in one possession games.
I literally told you that last episode. He's going to do it, and he did it.
He's still 1-7. Congratulations.
You held it on him for beating every team's ass.
You want a cookie?
And Jerry Jeudy has 1 drop on 21 targets so far this year. At the end of the day, the Broncos are we'll call them a sinking ship. They're missing the playoffs, in my opinion. Next year, if anything, would be their year.
He got injured
health
for one
and
game,
continuity.
if I'm not mistaken, though.
Moving on to our third team, the Green Bay Packers. Bailey Zappi looked pretty good on Sunday, and this Packers team altogether, to me, it just is lacking a mentor. And Brandon, you alluded to it. While Romeo Doubs would dig into the end zone for a second time, he had mistakes in this game. And the constant theme with the Packers is it feels like Rodgers doesn't have the patience to lead and at the same time be a mentor to young guys that are very inexperienced, and at the highest levels, you're going to need guys that have been there, done that. You can barely beat Brian Hoyer and the Patriots. That's an issue. And
Bailey
this Packers,
Zappi, not Brian Hoyer.
well, both of them, of course. You had Hoyer for the first quarter.
Zappi for the most.
I didn't want to ramble about the Patriots' backup quarterbacks. My apologies. This Packers defense altogether this year has been underperforming. Joe Barry has not done a good enough job with all of the personnel. And when you get rid of Devontae Adams, it's to improve the team in the draft. Instead of drafting George Pickens or any of those top-tier receivers they could have gone with that first pick, they go Devontae Wyatt at D-tackle. Then they go Quay Walker. And it feels like, to me, when you're going to go defense, you should be one of the best in the NFL. That should be your calling card. And right now it feels like the Packers lack a true identity 4 weeks into the season. And being this team I had going to the Super Bowl, it's starting to feel more and more like when you put your money on Aaron Rodgers to win at the highest levels, this Packers team is not a contender. So, Brent, are the Packers contenders, but more notably, are you walking the plank?
No, I stay aboard because Aaron Rodgers. All in all, it was an abysmal performance for Aaron Rodgers standards against the Patriots team with Bailey Zappi as the starting quarterback for most of the game. Again, the disrespect to our defense, it's top 10, but that's besides the point. I think it's going to be growing pains with these receivers. Romeo Doubs really has to stop with the fumbles and the mistakes. Like I understand you're a rookie, but the inconsistent play, I heard Michael Irvin talk about it. It's those type of plays make you from like a good player to a great player. And you got to cut those out if you want to take that step and also earn Aaron Rodgers' undivided respect.
That's something Devontae Adams struggled with very early, drops.
Mm-hmm.
And once he developed that part of his game, by 2020, he was the best receiver in football. It's a matter of putting all those things together for the Packers. And Justin, what's your take on this team?
I'm not going to walk the plank yet. I'd like to point out that Aaron Rodgers in the second half of that game, 17 for 24, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That was MVP Rodgers in that second half. And I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I believe Bill said, Brandon, you probably know it, that Bill said Aaron Rodgers was just too good. Like he was just too good. The Patriots did everything possible to win that game. Bailey Zappi game managed the hell out of that game, and the defense stepped up. They contained them for as long as they could, because that's really what it comes down to with Aaron Rodgers. You could really only hope to contain the guy because you can't entirely stop him. He's going to find a way, and he definitely did. That second half, he just tore us to shreds, made every quick read, made every smart play, made the good throws when he needed to. While I'm not high on them making it to a Super Bowl because of their weapons, and I don't know if Dobbs and Watson, Lazard, and Cobb are going to be enough on offense for them, at least on the outside, because their running game is deadly. But I can't see this team winning a Super Bowl this season. Not yet. I feel like they really, if Devontae Adams was still in the fold, maybe I'd be saying something different. But I won't walk the plank. I still think they'll be a top team in the NFC.
I'm walking the plank.
Ooh.
We know the Packers are a good team. We know they can make the playoffs and win this division, but that's not the expectation. They've done that for the better part of the last decade perennially. The question when they traded Devontae Adams was, could they get over the hump in the next 2 years? This season, I can't see it. In a league that is so progressive throwing the football downfield, while the 49ers feel like an exception, I feel Kyle Shanahan, his offense, is part of the reason why they can win with Jimmy Garoppolo and not the highest of quarterback play. With Matt LaFleur, I'm not sold at all. I feel like he's just had Aaron Rodgers and been good enough, and he's built a good relationship with him. So I'm out on the Packers until those receivers can start to put it all together. I'm concerned that they're not going to have enough time, and it's going to take an extra season. I'll come back next year. Moving on to our last team, the Baltimore Ravens should be number one in the AFC North, but instead they're stuck in the middle with the Cleveland Browns, who don't have their quarterback right now, sitting at 2-2. In spite of Lamar Jackson having arguably his best season yet, he's gained some weight. The throws the throwing power and the running ability. It's all been there at an elite level, but they just can't hold on to a darn lead. And Brandon is very low in a secondary that has a lot of talent and big-time stars. Marcus Williams, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Peters, Kyle Hamilton through the draft. It feels like every year the Ravens are dark horses, but they never quite actually, since 2011 or 2012, show us they can take it to the highest levels and win a Super Bowl. My question for you guys is, are they walking the plank? And what I mean by that is, could they miss the playoffs again this year? Or could they get knocked down in the first round? Could that, to me, be a disappointment if they don't win a playoff game?
Oof, that's tough because I came into the season so high on the Ravens. And I don't want to jump the gun and say they're completely done, but those are some brutal losses at home where you have the game really in the bag. The game is yours. Losing to Miami and now losing to Buffalo. And losing to Buffalo is big time because that's an AFC favorite right now. That's your competition when you go into the postseason. And you had that game. You had Josh Allen looking clueless. You had that Buffalo offense locked up. And then you let them climb back into it. As devastating as their losses have been, I can't walk the plank on this team just yet. I feel like it's too early. I have too much faith in John Harbaugh. And I do have a ton of faith in Lamar Jackson, who I feel is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the league. So I'm going to still ride with the Ravens. Not only do I think that they can get out of the first round, I think this team can still find their way into a Super Bowl. Just a bunch of things have to go their way. Obviously, the concerns in the secondary are legit. They are real. But they're in these games. And they're not getting smacked. Just a couple of plays need to go their way. And that's kind of sports. Just one thing can happen and you're turned on your head. So I'm not going to give up on this Ravens team. I'm a big believer in Lamar Jackson. And it was a rough one this past Sunday, but they'll bounce back, no doubt.
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs, but they ain't going to a Super Bowl. They're not really a major threat, and it's simply because back-to-back weeks, or not back-to-back weeks, the Miami game and this Bills game, both giving up major comebacks. They were up 20-3, I believe, at one point against the Bills, and then obviously they were up 28-7 against the Dolphins in the fourth quarter. That's not what champions are made of. That's not what a championship team is made of, giving up those type of comebacks. It's just not, plain and simple. And then against the New England Patriots, who John has called us offensively challenged multiple times, we had a chance to win the game. So, and it was 26-31. The secondary is, as a unit, is not playing very well. While individual players might be playing well, for some reason, it's just not coming together. Although they did, hold the Bills to 23 points. Josh Allen had a pedestrian game in his standards, throwing the football. It's not looking good. And also, when John Harbaugh basically, doesn't go for the 3 points and goes for the game-winning touchdown, he's basically saying, he doesn't believe in the defense to get the job done. And you just can't have it. I told John about it last night. I was like, at that point in time, points are priceless. They're invaluable. You got to take them when you get them. And they didn't. And it's just, I'm out on the Baltimore Ravens. They'll make the playoffs, but they ain't no champions. Not this year.
I still have them winning the division.
I do as well. I think the Bengals Super Bowl hangover is real. Zach Taylor has been a poor play caller, to say the very least. And for a team that was basically unscathed by injuries a year ago, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals started to hit the injury bug a little bit. Whereas the Ravens get a big-time day of J.K. Dobbins. Marcus Peters will be back for a third week, and Marshawn Lattimore is already getting back to that level. I think the secondary by year's end won't be an issue.
Humphreys, you mean, not Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, I call him Marshawn Lattimore, another stud corner from the 2017 NFL. There's a lot of stud corners in the league nowadays. From 2020, you have Adrian Terrell and Diggs, not the point. The Ravens defense won't be a limiting factor the way it has been in moments. And I think this running game with J.K. Dobbins getting back, he looked very good on Sunday. At the end of the day, you have a top 6 quarterback right now, one of the best tight ends in the league, who had a very quiet day, only 1 catch from Mark Andrews. And I think Rashad Bateman, too. He's only in his 2nd season. It's going to take the Ravens time to marinate, and I can project this team winning 12 games still, because in this division, they're a better team than the Steelers, they're better than the Browns, and they're better than the Bengals. They have the best coach outside of, I think, Tomlin and him go hand in hand. And defensively, well, the pass rush hasn't been what it was in recent years. Altogether, it has upside in the back end. And in this league, you have Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, half a dozen other elite quarterbacks in your conference. Having a high-level secondary that can be one of the best in the league is one of the most important things. I thought Marcus Williams was a perfect sign for them. They'll be all right. Anything else with the Ravens?
We're gonna find out this Sunday night. Next Sunday night, they go against the Bengals. So
big Sunday night for them against the Bengals. I mean, big game for both teams. I mean, any divisional matchup is big, but that one has some big implications for both of them.
they still haven't gotten Ronnie Stanley back.
That as well. I mean, it's been so long. And Orlando Brown was just filling in at left tackle. It felt like yesterday. It's been 2 years now. In the meantime, we're going to be talking about the NFC least. Brandon, do you want to talk about these Philadelphia Eagles, more specifically your Commanders pick, which after starting 1-3 is not looking very good?
Yeah, I mean, listen, before the season started, I told you guys there was a chance that Carson Wentz is gonna this trust in Carson Wentz is gonna bite me in the ass, and it did. I have no problem admitting it. I have no loyalties to Washington. I was just picking them. Haven't shown up. Excuse me. And yeah, there's nothing to it. It's really just I know the Giants are 3-1. They're a fraudulent 3-1 team. Sorry, but JQ, but they just are. It's really the Cowboys and it's the Eagles that are the top 2 teams. And I mean, people better watch out because that Cowboys defense is legit. Micah Parsons is special. And Cooper Rush is 4-0 as a starting quarterback. Dak Prescott can, take a little bit more time if he needs to rest that thumb, rest that hand. And they're off to the races coming back. They got a big game against LA next week, the Rams, who are playing right now. So, yeah, I have no loyalties to Washington. So,
I think that's the biggest thing that you mentioned about the Cowboys is where Cooper Rush is just playing solid football. He's not lighting the world on fire or anything, but he's playing solid football. And most of all, that gives Dallas a lot of time. That gives Dak all the time in the world because when the injury happened, I was like the season ended before it even really started. And then here they are, a game away from first place, a game out. Dak could take his time as long as this defense is playing the way it is and Cooper Rush is playing mistake-free football. CeeDee Lamb seems to be stepping up. The other day against the Giants, their running game was on. Their running game didn't do nearly as much as it did that week, but still, they're still winning football. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. So I'm with you. I don't know if I necessarily believe in the Giants 3-1 so much because it's the quarterback play. I still don't believe in Daniel Jones while he is he had 2 rushing touchdowns this week, but you're also going up against the Bears. It's a gritty win. I got to give them respect. And you can see there's change with Brian Daboll as the head coach there. So you could see there's change. And imagine if they had maybe Russell Wilson as their quarterback, now that I mention it. But the NFC, the NFC East is definitely entertaining this year because now with Dallas being as good as they have been lately, if Dak Prescott is top tier when he comes back, I mean, he'll probably have to shake off some rust. But if we see that Dallas offense that we saw from last year that was putting up insane amount of points, I think they're very scary.
I mean, Dallas has got a tough go ahead of them. They're traveling to LA and SoFi Stadium to face the Rams next week. And then they get the Eagles in Philadelphia on a big Sunday night game the week after. So that's going to be 2 big games in a row for Dallas. Will Dak be back for either of those games? Still up in the air right now.
But the thing is, I don't even think this Cowboy team is, some teams get scared. Some teams you look into, you feel intimidated, the odds are against you. But I mean, I'm watching this game right now, 49ers and the Rams. This Rams offense is not lighting the world on fire. And if you're going up against that Dallas Cowboy defense, that might give you some fits, So really, I think Dallas has an opportunity here they can win one of the next two games, or even if not both. I mean, Philly seems to be just world beaters right now. They were down early against the Jags and found their way back. They managed a comeback there. So
14-0. Everything's going against them.
I still don't understand why Allen Robinson is not more involved. He's got 3 targets on the day and 1 catch for 2 yards. I just really don't understand what Sean McVay is doing with him, what's going on. That makes no sense to me. But
this offense is missing a lot of explosiveness.
I still stand by what I said. The NFC East is still the NFC least. None of these teams are winning a Super Bowl this year, so you can get that out of your mind.
I won't rule out the Eagles this year.
They're not winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts is not. You know what the Eagles remind me of so much? You want to know what the Eagles remind me of so much this year? Tim Tebow's Denver Broncos.
Jalen Hurts is playing too good. Tim Tebow wasn't – while he played good football in the fourth quarter, he wasn't putting up MVP stats. This is different. I don't see how the two equate. I really don't.
I didn't say Tebow and Hurts. I said the teams. Systems are built around read option and running the football. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You got Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker on the Broncos. It's very similar to me.
I'm sorry to cut you off. The 49ers just picked off Matt Stafford for a touchdown.
How about it? I was foolish enough to go with the Rams, much like BCAP this week, and it was a wrong pick because Jimmy Garoppolo can and will beat Matthew Stafford. And Stafford leading the league in picks and pick sixes. How about it, Brown?
Yeah.
Brandon's
tired. That's your response?
He's tired.
Yeah, I'm about to look at the instant replay right now to see what went wrong. You guys can go ahead.
Just
a defender made a great play on the ball.
Yeah. Just a great play.
Really nothing Matthew Stafford did wrong, but okay.
He has an absolute knack for the ball.
Well, he almost threw a pick earlier in the red zone.
Yeah, we know this about Matthew Stafford. He's very Brett Favre-esque. He's a risk taker.
Hufanga. I hate to try to compare someone to Troy Polamalu, but with the hair, I love that guy.
Can't help it, right?
I can't.
Man, Monday Night Football.
And isn't it kind of crazy that the team that I told Bram, like, what was your trust in that Commanders team? It was Ron Rivera?
Yeah, and the defense is pretty good, and the weapons are pretty good. I mean, they still are good.
Chase Young has yet to really come in and actually play, which I'm sure has played a role as well. Jahan Dotson, a bright spot. Him and Terry McLaurin have been a good receiver tandem.
Curtis Samuel.
Sure, Brian Robinson's expected to be activated for this next week, whether it's week 5 or week 6. I did not expect to be saying Washington would be the worst team in this division, but the Giants, I think they had the best head coach here. You thought it was Ron Rivera coming to the season. Brian Daboll is a guy that the Cardinals, the Chargers, many teams around the league could have had to pair with an elite young quarterback. And if this guy's 3-1 Daniel Jones, I could only imagine what he would be doing with Kyler Murray. The Giants could win 7 or 8 games this year and be in the playoff picture, and it really wouldn't be surprising with how weak their schedule is. They play the Packers this upcoming week. They should lose that game, but you're still going to get an opportunity to play the Cowboys again. You're going to play the Commanders. I'm telling you, the Giants are not a team to overlook because when you do, they can easily beat you, especially if Daniel Jones can get back healthy. They were literally at a point where they had neither other two quarterbacks, which was...
And Saquon was playing a Wildcat QB for a couple of plays.
I was texting JQ, do you need a backup quarterback? And it was a gif of Mitch Trubisky running onto the field. They do have Davis Webb on the practice squad. If Daniel Jones, there's optimism he'll play, but ankle injuries, they're recurring. You want to evaluate the guy. I don't think Daniel Jones should play this upcoming week. And Tyrod Taylor took an absolute shot. He's in concussion protocol. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be looking at Davis Webb this upcoming week. I do want to say Odell Beckham Jr. visited the Giants today.
Oh, doesn't that get you excited, man? I love stuff like that.
Not at all.
That is so cool.
Makes me sad.
man. Saquon is absolutely rolling. The Giants are playing with so much momentum. Imagine just getting an influx of talent and electric in Odell. Imagine that, just coming back home. That's what dreams are made of, man. That's what New York is all about. That's a storyline. Bring Odell back. Bring Odell back.
Yeah, why? That no. Peaks
what do you mean? I don't know why. He would be instantly the best receiver on the team.
Dave Gettleman gave Kenny Golladay $60 million on the year. He has 6 targets for 2 catches and 22 yards. I think there's a clear point. Saquon's been a top 5 back in the league this year, but
I'm talking why in terms of why would OBJ go there when he can go to a Super Bowl contender?
Because he could go home, man. Where it all started.
God.
He's not signing with the Saints. They already got their receivers, and the Giants
Saints
are
not
going to be
a Super Bowl contender. What?
Well, that's where he's from. He's from Louisiana.
Oh.
Well, I'm more referring to his first NFL team. Yeah, where he broke in. I think this will be awesome. Things left on a sour note the last time he was in New York.
Why, dude?
So, why not?
The taste of winning a Super Bowl and you got injured in it. Why would you go to a team that has no future of winning a Super Bowl in the next?
It's not about always. It's not the ring chasing here. It's, go out there, play some good football for the New York Giants where you originally started, and boom, make something happen. Everybody wants to win in New York. Winning in New York is the greatest thing in sports, probably.
Yeah,
every athlete wants a piece of it. Well, you're right. It doesn't happen, but when it does, it's glorious. And I think Odell wanted to win in New York. It didn't happen.
It was with Daniel Jones and Ben McAdoo and all those other guys.
He was with Eli, and they actually had a legit chance that one year.
Yeah,
but they all went to Miami and we're wearing Timbs on a boat. But
yeah, I don't know why you guys are trying to put that bad stuff on Odell. Don't go to New York. Go somewhere where you can win a Super Bowl and be happy and play winning football, not just play good football, as Justin said. Play winning football.
You can be a part of something, and then next year,
the part of what? What?
The Giants have a winning coach and a capable GM for the first time in a while.
They're winning are you going to call it right? Are either you guys going to call it right now? The Giants are winning a Super Bowl in the next 8 years.
No, but there is hope in New York, and for the Giants, they're well run for the first time since not only 2016, but frankly, in the last decade, they haven't been this impressive when it comes to the coach and the GM.
That's not true.
It's not true. Brian Dable's done incredible work.
No. Last decade, they won a Super Bowl in 2012. So
that's why I'm saying the last decade.
Right, well, Tom Coughlin was still there. He was still there, the coach afterwards. Unless you're calling Mike Tomlin, he completely fell off a cliff the year after they won a Super Bowl. If you're saying that, then okay, I'm not agreeing with that statement.
Joe Shane has done a very good job with this team. I think there's a lot of things to look forward to with the job he's going to do this summer with a top 5 pick and a lot of cap space once he gets off of Kenny Golladay.
But you just said the Giants are going to have a top 5 pick this year?
They're going to trade up, I think. They're going to use that Bears pick from Justin Fields and I think move up for a quarterback.
You missed me with the Giants. They're not doing nothing.
Doing a lot more than the Panthers and the Patriots. 3 times the best.
Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah. Okay, buddy. We made the playoffs last year, John. Do we forget that?
Do you forget what they did in the playoffs? I think that's what we really should remember.
Do we forget that we were 1 game off of being the number one seed in the AFC East? But we forget that.
The Steelers were a game away from being the number 1 team in the AFC North, and guess what? It didn't matter. They got killed by the Chiefs, and the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. So all of that is just semantics.
That's not
Patriots made the
semantic.
playoffs
We
and got
made the
killed.
playoffs last year, and you're comparing us to the Giants, who have been dog crap for the past, 7 years?
So have the
8 years?
Jaguars. And what do you say about them? You haven't
Still
done
the
anything?
Jaguars. The Jaguars had a good 3-4 year stretch where they were Saxonville. What are you talking about?
They had 2 years, my friend.
Okay, what are you talking about, though? They were in the AFC Championship game. They had a 20-10 lead on the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Giants turning their franchise around, and the Jaguars, after making it all the way there, a game away from the Super Bowl, they won 5 games the next season. And since
I
then,
would
it's been
love to see who's the Giants' third string quarterback.
Davis Webb.
Okay, I would love to see the Giants play the Packers in Green Bay and with their third string quarterback and go take Aaron Rodgers to overtime. I would love to see that because that would never, ever, ever happen. You want to know why? They don't got Bill Belichick. They don't have our defense. Simple as that. Never would happen. We did it with Bailey freaking Zappi. Bailey, what college did he go to? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Probably not, right?
Not off the top.
Okay. So this guy, that's who we just went.
Western Kentucky.
And before that, I was thinking it was like a Baptist college, if I'm not mistaken. He transferred out of that. 24-7, John, with our third string quarterback. What are you talking about? They're in a better situation than New England.
I didn't say that. I never said that.
Did. Justin, am I hearing things? Did he not just say the Giants are in a better situation than the Panthers and the Patriots?
I said they have 3 times more wins. And yeah, they are in a better situation than the Panthers.
They're in a better situation at the moment. Yes.
That still makes no sense because we just okay.
The Panthers are a dumpster fire. Of course the Giants are in a better position.
Who
They have
did
their
the
head
Giants
coach.
beat this season?
Poor
Titans,
teams.
the
Yeah, beat the
Panthers,
teams in front of you,
Bears.
man.
Oh, you got to beat the teams. Okay.
I mean, the Giants will really be put to the test the next 2 weeks. Going to London, take on the Packers, and then coming back home to take on the
They
Rams.
get to play the Packers. Look at
So the Packers are riding high after that victory, so it should definitely be a good one. The Giants' defense is nothing to laugh at either. So
wait, time out, Justin. Are you serious that the Packers play the Giants next week?
Correct. Yeah.
In London.
9:30 in the morning, man.
And
set those alarms.
Is homeboy gonna play? Is Daniel Jones the starting quarterback?
No.
Don't know yet.
He won't.
All right, John. Right now, I'm holding your feet to the freaking fire. This is only if Daniel Jones doesn't play, because if he does,
I'm not betting money on Davis Webb.
I'm not putting money. We're putting a friendly bet. There's no money involved. Okay.
I want money involved.
Did he just say he wants money involved?
Yes.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Okay. I'm telling you right now, the Green Bay Packers I'll give you the freaking 8 points that they're favored by. I'll give you the 8 points. I'm taking Green Bay. I'll give you 8 points. So that means you take the Giants. All they have to do is not lose by 8 points, and you win the bet. Take it or leave it.
Come on, John.
I'm giving you 8 points.
You're giving me a Hall of Famer versus Davis Webb.
Daniel Jones the Giants are optimistic that Daniel Jones will play.
John, I gave you Bailey Zappi versus Aaron Rodgers 24-7.
You gave me Bill Belichick versus Aaron Rodgers.
You're talking all that smoke about Brian Daboll, talking all that smoke about Saquon Barkley and how they're such in a good position or whatever. Have the courage of your conviction, John. I wish I could look you in the face right now because I can't. I'm looking at that stupid little profile picture of you. Have the courage of your conviction. You're talking all that crap. You try to sully the Patriots' name. Take them 8 points right now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I can't wait for next Monday. I cannot wait.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win.
They're not winning. Don't do that, Justin.
Every time you guys tell me somebody's not winning, they win.
No, that's not. That's not true.
We'll see.
Didn't you just tell us the Rams are going to win and that you didn't trust what's his face, Jimmy Garoppolo, to beat Matthew Stafford? Well, look at this in primetime. What's going on?
I didn't know Jimmy Garoppolo played cornerback or linebacker and intercepts the ball. I didn't know that.
Well, you did know Matthew Stafford likes to turn over the football in key moments.
I gotta get a new TV. I really do. I should get my, I have an eye exam this Thursday, so maybe, the doctor's gonna help me out. Can't wait. I can't wait. I can't freaking wait for the Packers to blow the Giants out and you to have to eat your freaking crow. This stupid bull jive you're talking. Your jabroni ass. The Giants are in a good position. Get the hell.
This is going to be a fun time. First off, we're going to have to discuss the implications of me and Brandon's bet because I won.
There's no implications. There were no rules set to this. You cannot make an implication after you win.
First off, I said I needed you to dress up as a banana.
Nope, I never agreed to that.
That's so messed up. Just for like 20 minutes, bro. I will drive to Connecticut and drop off a banana costume.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I already beat you in a bet this year, so now we're 1-1. So what are you talking about?
Which bet?
You bet the Texans, and I had the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You were so lucky about that one.
And we still have the Carolina in last place bet too. So
yeah, I think I won that already too.
Yeah, so write that one home.
Yeah. I'm about to write down the John one right now.
All right. What's next, my friends?
Talk about Aaron Judge because I have a player I want to highlight after.
Oh, you want me to talk about Aaron Judge? I saw this crazy stat. And I thank God I bookmarked it because it pisses me the hell off. So Judge's walk rate, right, before his 60th home run of the season was 15%. Since he's hit his 60th home run, his walk rate is 40%. Do you hear that? 40%. It kind of drives me nuts because you're a big league pitcher. These are major league teams we're going up against. Pitch to the damn guy. It's the end of the season. What do you have to lose? Build your damn confidence. Don't go in there and pitch around the best hitter in baseball. It's literally October.
Do you want to be on the right side of history?
All right. So you know what? You say that. And then I ask this. Who was the pitcher when Barry Bonds hit 763? Nobody knows. Nobody remembers. Nobody. Nobody remembers who was the pitcher that gave up number 61 to Roger Maris. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. We'll get over it. Nobody gives a damn. It's about the moment. It's about Aaron Judge. It's not about the damn pitcher. It's about him. You and 61 other guys are a part of history there. And not everybody remembers any one of those pitchers. None. Who gives a damn? Pitch to the guy. If you're an MLB pitcher, I'm sorry, if you're a competitor and you have belief in yourself, you have confidence in yourself, you should be going into every single game like, you're the guy I want. I want to strike you out. I don't get it. I don't understand it whatsoever. He has 3 more games left to hit 62. And the only way he's going to get it is if these pitchers actually pitch to him. And if they don't, and he doesn't get that record because of that, that's just a disgrace. It's stupid. It's bad for the game. Pitch to the damn guy. Come on. Don't be
guys, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a streaker that ran across the field on Monday Night Football. And Bobby Wagner decked the hell out of him. He freaking murdered
I love Bobby Wagner.
You murdered him. I just saw that.
Bobby Wagner is a great guy.
That on Twitter.
You know, he was on the Forbes under 30 for 30 list.
That's pretty dope.
Wow.
One thing I should bring up just got announced. Davis and Figueiredo versus Brandon Marino, Volume 4. This is the 4th time they're going to be fighting. It is set for Saturday, January 21st of 2023 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, home country of Davis and Figueiredo. I implore you guys, if you haven't watched their first 3 fights, Go watch them before this fight. It's going to be epic. It's going to be entertaining, and I can't wait.
We got to check it out. By the way, guys, Richard Sherman is talking a lot of caca about Matthew Stafford at the moment.
Yeah,
he said, I quote,
likes to do, right?
Cannot tell me Stafford is playing better than Goff right now. If you're a numbers guy, then go check them. Somebody commented, Stafford clearly hasn't recovered from the elbow. Richard's response, there is no recovering from that when your job is to throw every day. By the way, nice picture. TJ Hawkinson, what an absolute day he had. There was no defense in that game whatsoever. The Lions, I think, are averaging 35 points per game. You know how much they're allowing? 35.3. The best bad team in football.
They're much like the Hornets in the NBA, where they're so mediocre, yet so exciting to watch week to week and so flawed at the same time. And defense does not play a large role. TJ Hawkinson, 8 catches, 179, 2 touchdowns. We've been talking about this guy and how special his talent is. The former 8th overall pick. We know he can be a top 5 tight end in that class of a Pat Freiermuth, Darren Waller. It's ultimately been him putting it all together and having 1,200, 1,100 yards. And with Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift both being out of the lineup last week, he stepped up in the biggest way for this Lions offense with Jared Goff. Goff had one of the best games of his time with the Lions, and most notably, Hawkinson showed when Jameson Williams comes back to this offense, you still got DJ Chark, Josh Reynolds. The Lions can have an elite offense, and maybe the best one in the NFC
North.
Yeah, I'm starting to really believe in Jared Goff.
I do gotta say this though, in terms of the Matthew Stafford, right? I think I definitely did. I'm a culprit of this. I definitely, and I think a lot of people overlooked the loss of Andrew Whitworth retiring. Because if we look at Matthew Stafford, you just look at this game, and
what did I tell you?
Am I not sitting here right now admitting? Did I not literally just say I am at fault of this too? This guy interrupts me in the middle of my sentences, Justin, after I just admitted that I was wrong. Right now, this game, he has been hit 10 times and sacked 7 times. I'm right here to tell you, I think that Andrew Whitworth retirement was a big loss, and I still do not understand why Allen Robinson is not being involved more. I don't. And apparently he's got 6 targets now. I haven't been able to catch most of the game, so I don't know if that's Matthew Stafford missing them, that's Allen Robinson dropping it, running wrong routes, miscommunication, whatever the hell. But this needs to be fixed. Like Sean McVay, you're the offensive guy. The offense should at least be looking, still good. I mean, the Cooper Kupp to Matthew Stafford connection is still real. Cooper's got 13 catches for 113 yards. But it can't just be Stafford to Kupp. It's got to be something more right now.
No, you're 100% right. I mean,
18 targets right now.
Yeah.
18 targets.
Cooper Kupp is the offense. And for my fantasy team, believe me, I am not complaining whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. But you're 100% right. This Rams offense, I mean, look at the season stats. They just put it up. Matt Stafford, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not going to cut it right now. Somebody has to step up. It can't just be Cooper Kupp.
I'm disappointed in Stafford. He can't beat Jimmy Garoppolo. And I put my money on him winning. Yeah, Brand, he's what? 1-3 against him? Not enough. This Rams team, Sean McVay can't beat Kyle Shanahan. Excuse me. That's what I really should be saying.
If I'm not mistaken, they beat him in the NFC Championship game last year, but okay.
Got very lucky.
You're the guy. Okay, and now it's luck. See, now it's luck.
It was a dropped interception.
It was a dropped interception. Okay, but Eli
saved
Manning's
Stafford's legacy.
Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, but he got lucky, right, with the Asante Samuel dropped interception. Okay, see how you guys like to switch it, right?
He did 2 times.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Oh, 2 times. Broken clock is right twice a day, right? Yeah.
Last thing I want to say, one of the biggest studs this football season, and Cordell Patterson, was placed on IR. The Falcons, they take Kyle Pitts 4th overall, and they don't actually use him.
This is like the third time you have brought this up about your fantasy football team and him not being used.
I just don't understand when Calvin Ridley's out, how you don't get this guy the ball more. I expected him. It's not my fantasy team. I don't have him in fantasy. I had him as my breakout tight end, and I had Darnell Mooney as my breakout wide receiver. And both of them have massive. Well, Pat Freiermuth, of course, my breakout tight end. That's a different story. Both of them right now don't even, have a touchdown registered to their name. So I'm just gonna sit here and say, if the Falcons, want to use that top 5 pick, they took him over Jamar Chase, the Heisman winner, and Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. It would be probably to the benefit of the team, given he's the best tight end prospect since, I don't know, better than Gronk.
Davis.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Yeah. So, anything, Justin?
I'm good, fellas. Just tune into some baseball, man. Postseason is coming up.
Yeah. John, do you want me to do the outro because your camera's not working?
Go for it. And shout out Jimmy Garoppolo while we're at it too, all right? Guys, incentives, and he's smiling like a good Italian.
I'm not shouting out no Jimmy Garoppolo. Shout out Jimmy porn star Jimmy though. But that's gonna wrap it up, guys. John's cameras can't working, so I'm gonna take it over here. Thank you for joining us for episode number 32. Shout out Big Diesel. Shout out Shaq. Let's get ready for a preview Thursday morning for week 5 of the NFL season. It's insane that it's already week 5. I mean, Jesus Christ. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, acquaintances all about us. Come on. We love the interaction. We love the viewerships. John's being a clown right now with Jimmy Garoppolo up there. But follow us on our socials. There'll be links in the description. The Twitters for our personal should be on the screen or link in the description. But yeah, and like always,
check out BetStamp and Jimmy G's smile at Wise Guys, WISEGUYS.
You said a little too fast there, but WISEGUYS, Wise Guys. Let them know we sent you. BetStamp. But like always, I've been Brandon Capizzello. That was Justin Ray next to me this time. And below me was John Tortorelli. And we got 2 words for you.
Stay classy.